The forces of the Temarine and the Ashkenazi stood before the dark citadel as the golem effortlessly tore away the heavy portcullis. Only the simple wooden gate remained to bar his way. He paused and turned back to the assembled army.
"This is for me to finish. I will face the Dark Servant alone. You need not follow me through this accursed place."
The faces of the horsemen and musketeers fell at the very suggestion. There was confusion amongst them. Abaya stepped forward and gave voice to what they were all thinking. "You led us here. We followed you because the Father of us all sent you from the stars to redeem and save us. We sailed across the great sea, though we were not sailors. We built technological marvels, though we are not great craftsmen. The Temarine have united and marched side by side with the Ashkenazi, though no such thing has ever happened before. We marched through blood and fire to cut out the corruption from our land. And we intend to see this through to the end."
Strong though your faith is, you are still men of flesh, and the flesh is weak. Never is the flesh so weak as when it is tested by these dark servants. They will bedevil your senses, offer you every mad pleasure that you could imagine, and they will strike when you are at your weakest.
Never have our people been so strong. Never have we walked in the light of the Emperor the way we do now. And you want us to remain behind and do nothing? You would deny us vengeance for the loss of Al-Rashid? Our flesh may be weak, but our faith is strong, and our faith carries us when our flesh cannot. We will walk with you in these dark places, and we will end this corruption once and for all." Captain Fanuel looked over the army that he had led to this most pivotal point.
"Listen to me, all of you. If any of you hold any doubt or fear in your heart, if your dedication is anything less than absolute, do not join me. Those who falter and fall will be forever damned, and I will not hesitate to slay any who succumb."
At this, a quiet murmur went through the men.
There is no shame in turning away. We need others to secure the city of Gordium anyway. Heretics need to be purged, and slaves need to be freed. Some of you will need to see to that.
This statement allowed those who were wavering to save some face as they turned away from the horrors that awaited them within the tower, and they began marching back towards Gordium. Most remained, and so the golem finally removed the last barrier as the gate was splintered and shattered. Fanuel led the way with the Ashkenazi and the Temarine following behind. A few scattered torches illuminated the darkened fortress, but they could see nothing stirring. There were no defenders there to meet them. The air was heavily incensed, and a decadent aroma hung in every room. Spices from the farthest reaches of this world could not match its pungent odor. Abaya could feel his eyes watering as he walked through the haze. A few men began coughing. There was also an ominous heaviness to the air, a feeling like the entire tower was pressing in against them. The party advanced, and began to ascend the spiral staircase up to the top of the tower. Horrid glyphs were scrawled on the walls, and blasphemous works of art were displayed in an obscene gallery as they advanced. Mad scenes were painted in gore, and grotesque sculptures of skin and bone filled the place. As horrifying as they were, there was an undeniable, entrancing quality about them. They simply begged to be seen, to be examined, to be critiqued, to be thought about. It was as if the art longed to be appreciated. In that moment alone, Bolt Round echoed through the halls, shaking the servants of the Emperor out of their hazy stupor. Abaya snapped to his senses in time to see one of the Ashkenazi warriors, his eyes wide, with his arms entwined around a tall, many-armed and beckoning sculpture made from the skin and bones of several people. The unfortunate had his lower half blown away by the Space Marines' round.
We have scarcely begun. Steel yourselves now, or your flesh and souls will be destroyed.
Abaya felt his blood run cold as he realized how easily and quickly a man could succumb. The young high priest of the Ashkenazi looked at the horrid thing and swung the butt of his rifle and smashed the blasphemous sculpture. "Reject the lies of the Dark One! Let us purge this place." The Temerine and the Ashkenazi were filled with a new kind of zeal that broke the spell Slaanesh had begun to weave over them. Faniel watched as they destroyed the horrid works of art. He nodded in quiet approval, but he knew there were still more temptations beyond, and the source of the corruption still needed to be cut out. No man do they call me, my mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to the latest episode of Heart of Iron. If you enjoyed what you heard, please give a like and a comment so that you too can risk your very soul to defeat a decadent pleasure cult. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so in order to hear more stories about very serious art criticism. If you would like to support me, there are links to my PayPal, my Teespring, and my Patreon down below. And if you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the Heart of Iron playlist in order to watch the series from the very beginning, and that should be appearing on screen right now. Thank you all once again for listening. No Man out.